Before installation, we need to prepare the required tools. The operating environment is so important that it will influence the lifespan of MID XH. So please don't expose the MID XH to the environment of sunshine, rain and snow. To ensure the machine can run properly and easy to operate, please provide adequate space for MID XH. Install the inverter vertically or at a maximum back tilt of 15 degrees. Do not install the inverter at a front tilt, horizontally, or upside down. First, unpacking the MID XH package and check whether the unit has damaged or missing parts. If it happens, please contact the supplier. There are some connection ports including DC switch for solar input, battery input ports, PV input ports, USB port for the monitoring accessory and firmware upgrade, COM port for communication of battery system, smart meter and backup box, and DRM's function of Australia models or power control interface of European models. AC grid connection port. Drill holes in the wall as shown in the diagram for inverter installation. Please use a level to ensure that the wall mount remains level. Due to the heavy weight of the inverter, two people will need to work together for installation. Notice: when drilling holes in the wall, avoid the water pipes and power cables. Please prepare the cables before the electrical connection. Notice: please make sure that all switches are off. For safety reason, no work should be done on energized electrical circuits. Do not use aluminum wires as the output cables. Make sure the PV switch is off. Clamp the OT terminal on the PE cable as shown in the figure. Connect the grounding connector, which is at the right side of the MID XH inverter. Notice: make sure that the protective ground wire is reliably connected, as failure to connect or loosening may result in a risk of electric shock. Do not connect the end wire to the chassis as a protective ground wire, as this may result in a risk of electric shock. Route the 5 wires PE, N, L1, L2, L3 wires through the AC protective cover. Crimp the ring or spade terminals. Then connect them to the screw terminals on the AC connector. Secure the protective cover onto the inverter and tighten the screw on the protective cover. Notice: do not pass the crimped OT cable directly through the rubber liner, as this may damage the rubber liner. The MID 1120 KTL3 XH inverters have 4 independent PV inputs, while the MID 25-30 KTL3 XH inverters have 6 PV inputs. When installing the PV modules, please note that the PV modules in each PV string should be of the same specifications and model. PV strings connected in parallel to the same MPPT shall have the same number of PV modules in its series. Connect the DC wires to the positive and negative terminals as shown in the figure, leaving 8 to 10 millimeters of internal wire at the front of the PV connection cable. Insert the PV cable into the terminal and use the plier to press the terminal firmly and make sure that the cable cannot be unplugged. Insert the cable with a metal terminal into the corresponding connector until it clicks. Tighten the locking nut with a spanner. When the spanner slips during tightening, the locking nut is tightened. Measure with a meter to make sure the cable polarity is correct. Warning: Use the H4 positive and negative metal terminals and DC connectors supplied with the inverter. The use of other incompatible positive and negative metal terminals and DC connectors may result in serious consequences, and damage to the equipment is not covered by the warranty. Notice: it is not recommended to use hard cables such as armored cables for DC input cables to avoid venting stress on the cables, which may cause poor contact with the terminals. Limit: max PV voltage 1100 volts. Consider the lowest temperature. Max PV input current per string 16 amperes. Max PV input power per string 10 kilowatts. The MID 1130 KTL3XH 3-phase inverters feature 2 independent battery inputs. The battery power cables and communication cable are inside the cable package of the APX95034P2 power module. Insert battery positive, negative, and neutral cables into the relative battery terminal of MID XH inverter. Communication between 2 clusters of batteries using a network cable connection. Limit: max battery voltage 950 volts. Max battery charge and discharge power 30 kilowatts.